16 to 1, a podcast about education, teaching, and learning.
Podcast.
Here we go.
It's time.
We jump right in.
16 to 1. Everybody's favorite podcast
Episode
about education.
3 million.
Episode I lost count.
35?
4, I think. 4. Yeah, 34. What are we talking about this week?
Camp.
Everything
has an exclamation point in our notes.
When you wrote these notes for this show, you were just like, exclamation point for you and for you.
Something was happening that day that I was very excited about.
You were just
what was I reading? I was reading something that day that was just exclamation points.
I don't know, but you just listed all the different kinds of camp, and then you put an exclamation point after them.
And then I promptly backed out of this Google Drive.
Space camp.
And I said, good luck.
Good luck. Have a good time.
You did a lot of the legwork, actually.
Well,
is it because all I did was exclamation points?
I mean, no, I was adding some color behind the exclamation points. It's fine.
No worries.
Yeah.
Well,
so we're kind of talking about mostly.
Is that it? Are we just jumping right in?
Oh yeah. Oh, I guess we should get caught up.
State of the world
on where we are. I don't know. Where are we?
I don't remember. Were we just talking about For All Mankind last episode?
Oh, I think so, and we finished it.
It's over. If we didn't talk about it, we started it and we finished it.
Yeah, we started it and we finished it. It's not over. We're out of episodes to see.
New episodes, yeah.
For now. And I'm devastated because I want to watch way more of it.
Incredible show.
It's one of the best TV shows I've seen in quite a while.
It's up there with The West Wing for me.
It's very good. It's very good. Very good writing. It's a very different kind of thing from West Wing, but it's sci-fi at its finest.
Gosh, just so
like
good.
Alternate history. There's a lot of fun.
We did talk about this.
Subtly
I'm
rewriting
recovering this memory now.
Yeah. We talked about it, but I don't think we were as far along.
What else? We started Mad Men. Mm-hmm. Haven't gotten very far.
No.
But we randomly jumped back into Sopranos.
Yeah, we're just going for all the heaviest death-filled shows we can find.
No wonder. I was actually thinking this morning that I want us to start watching Gilmore Girls.
Well, I mean, that's definitely not heavy and death-filled.
I think I might need a palate cleanser.
Okay,
I think
fair.
Mad Men isn't quite as dark.
It gets even dark. It gets darker.
But it's not... Is it ever going to be as dark as The Sopranos?
There's a lot of like backstabbing and conniving.
Okay, but not like
it's not
swimming
like
with
it's
the
not
fishes.
just like murdering people with piano wire. No.
Okay.
No.
See, that's a different take for me. So
yeah,
Mad Men is like, well, I haven't seen it all.
Yeah, you missed out on it
but
the first time it was a thing. So
I did.
It's kind of new to you.
Well, weren't we kind of young when it came out? For it to be geared for us?
The first time I watched it start to finish all the seasons, so it was already done.
Oh, okay. So you didn't watch
probably
it in real time.
It was a little
okay
bit on the cusp of being too young for us to watch. I mean,
we were too young for it.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, anyways,
sorry, yes.
I am enjoying it.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten very far.
Yeah.
But I do think we need to maybe, throw some Gilmore in just
something
some
a little
light
more
in my
uplifting,
life.
maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Anyways, those are our TV shows right now. Mm-hmm. Haven't read anything new yet. Just finished up
Read anything? You haven't read anything new yet?
Well, I just finished up Mice and Men for the 800th time.
Oh,
in my
I see.
life.
I see.
Which is probably also why my mood has been kind of like this, because like last week we were reading the scene where the dog dies, and I was like, why am I in such a bad mood? I had to read the dog died 4 times. No wonder. Today I had to watch him be shot 4 times. It's like not great.
Yeah, no. Why do you do that to yourself?
Oh, I love the book, but I'm just trying to keep him humble,
I love the book, but I am in a dark pit of despair.
It's like that's how I felt teaching the Holocaust unit too, because I do it in winter. Why do I do that?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
I would like to not see the sun and also teach about human atrocities. Mm-hmm. Anyways,
okay.
What about you? That's kind of our rundown. So what about what are you into?
Yeah, I got really into making music again. I was streaming for a while, and that was like my creative pursuit.
Yeah,
but
I kind of miss those days.
Well, yeah, I'll probably stream more at some point, but I'm just in like a highly like creative output.
Yeah, you are
spike right
now. And I'm very tired.
I want to make everything and do everything, and I need to like create or I lose my mind. That's kind of how my brain works sometimes. So, yeah.
The Peloton we've had for like
we've been exercising.
a month.
It's good. I like it.
It's gone pretty well. Mm-hmm. My butt hurts less, but it still hurts.
Yeah.
And not that anyone is counting, but on the day that you listen to this, there will be, including that day, 12 days left of school.
12 days left of school.
Merry Christmas. Well,
Graduation is coming soon.
is it time?
So we're going to dive in. Are we ready?
I think we are.
Are we there?
Yeah. I'm ready if you are.
Okay, so we're talking about camp.
Camp.
Like everything, every image that your head conjures when somebody tells you about camp.
All right.
So camp, as in like, summer camp, band camp, music camp,
All kinds of camps.
space camp,
Asthma camp.
asthma camp, feeling fine.
Please don't.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Should we include the photo of me with the dog?
We should definitely
Okay,
do that.
yeah.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
Right.
If it's up to me, then yes. So we're talking about mostly like, summer sleepaway kind of camps. But, day camps too.
Some of them
other
are just
kinds
day camps, yeah.
Yeah, some of them are
Asthma
day
camp
camps.
was day camp.
Stuff like that, though, where you're kind of taken out of your normal context and you go and spend some social time with your peers, usually focus on one kind of activity, like, either like music or band camp or like computer programming camp or whatever it is. Yeah. So we're talking all about that kind of experience. So camps, we kind of think of them as just like fun ways for parents to shunt their children into childcare temporarily, but they do provide some important social development opportunities, especially for younger kids. They provide, a lot of times it's the kids' first kind of opportunity to be away from home, so they're doing community living in some place that's away from home, and we're centered on some sort of usually collaborative activity. So yeah, they get a non-traditional environment that's geared toward experiential learning. A lot of cases that we're going to see here are kind of ways to mitigate the effects of summer learning loss. We've talked about that in previous episodes.
Yeah.
It's not a permanent solution, but it does mitigate some of the harmful effects of summer learning loss. So yeah, it's just, camps are usually a safe place to kind of safe context to develop your identity and to work on self-confidence, leadership skills. Some of the most popular camps, at least in this country, tend to be those run by Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and the YMCA. Yeah. So
I never did Girl Scout camp. I was in Girl Scouts. Never
really?
did camp.
I was not.
I was afraid to stay away from my parents until 7 years ago. So
yeah, I was definitely one of the kids who was not necessarily happy about staying away from home.
Yeah, I don't think I
had separation anxiety.
Oh, I did too.
For sure.
I still do.
But I would still say that they were very obviously beneficial environments for me to be in.
Oh, no, they were.
But I did not
really were.
Yeah, I did not going my own way, living wise at the times that I did most of these kind of formative ones.
No.
By the time I was in high school, I'll talk about my theater camp experience. I was a musical theater nerd, and that camp was I wasn't really worried about being away from home by that point, but I was a little bit older then.
Yeah,
so.
I really do feel like the first time I was away from my parents for that long was freshman year of high school, because it was band camp. I mean, it had to be. Mm-hmm. So I was a big baby. I still am a big baby. But yeah, I mean, did you grow up with a YMCA near?
Yeah. The towns near me had
really
places. I think
because the YMCA day camp was huge.
Yeah, that was never a thing that I did though. So
I didn't either. But I'm saying it was a big employer of high school kids, and also tons of kids went to it.
Well, here's the thing: if it's a camp that's focused on outdoorsiness or athletic activity, I probably wasn't doing it.
Oh,
so you have to just keep that in mind.
Well, never mind.
I mean,
I didn't go either.
I did play sports and stuff, but I was not.
I mean, I
particularly known for my athletic prowess.
I went to basketball and softball and volleyball camps too. So
yeah, I did volleyball camps and probably some softball stuff at some point. But
I went to some basketball and volleyball camps at universities in the area and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I liked those, but they were day camps.
Yeah, so there's specialized camps like that for everything. I mean, a lot of these sporting ones are. Those ones kind of are a little stressful in my mind because they're not really focused on some of the core attributes that make camps actually fun and beneficial. They're really just focused on turning kids into little powerful athletes, and they're not necessarily providing all of the benefits that some
we
of these
also
other
went
ones
as
do.
A whole basketball team to camps. To universities, we went to Notre Dame, they went to Vanderbilt, so it was
so there's a team building opportunity there, but I think it's just the more traditional. I'm thinking kind of more of the traditional camp experience where you're you're doing campfire times and stories and you're trust building, blah blah blah.
That sounds horrible.
I mean, it does, but when it's age appropriate, it can be fun. So
yeah, they get into it.
Yeah, I when I was researching this, I found this really interesting thing that is relevant right now. And that's, as you can imagine, with COVID last summer camp attendance was basically non-existent. Everything just shut down. And so all these camps that typically run in the summertime and provide bridge learning opportunities to sort of deal with this summer learning loss stuff, none of that happened. So something that I found while we were researching this episode is that the Department of Education really recently launched this thing called the Summer Learning and Enrichment Collaborative, and it provides support for all these states and a couple of different territories of the U.S. that are using American Rescue Plan funding. So it's like, COVID relief funding, basically, other pandemic relief funding. So this money is going to go towards supporting as many students as possible, getting them into evidence-based summer enrichment programs. So that's kind of like all these camps that we're talking about. So apparently some funding under the relief plan is restricted to school funding. Schools have to use at least $21 billion. This is overall in federal funding for initiatives to address the impact of lost instructional time due to COVID, and that funding can include summer programming. So it's kind of interesting that there's this very specific provision to use this.
That's great though.
Funding, like
because
COVID
Trump
relief
cut
funding.
all that in 2018.
Yeah.
So that's really great news
Also true.
for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So especially, this problem is especially acute because of COVID, but it's also there's a normal problem of summer learning loss as well. And so there's all this funding right now to address some of those issues related to COVID. So
I mean, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of learning loss, and not just in the summer this year.
Yeah,
so.
You have some notes about learning loss. You want to walk through a few of these and just take us through what you found a little bit?
So this all came from an article by Seth Klein from U.S. News, and it's called "Summer Breaking America's Schools." And so the article was published in 2018. So this is pre-COVID, which is important to remember. But he has a quote in there that says, "Summer is the most unequal time in America," says Matthew Boulay, founder and CEO of the National Summer Learning Association. He's quoted as saying, "We pour enormous amounts of resources into children learning, but much of that investment stops in the summer months." And he also said it's a uniquely American problem. We have the longest summer break of any developed or industrialized country. And he goes on that in this country, the inequalities, the income gap and wealth gap are growing. And that sort of reinforces the inequalities during this summer. So the article said that students lose the knowledge of equivalent of 1 month of instruction per year because of the summer learning loss. And so by 9th grade, accumulated summer reading losses accounted for 2/3 of the reading achievement gap between low-income and middle-income children.
That's interesting.
And so wealthier families obviously can afford to enroll their children in summer activities that, even if they aren't academic, keep them busy or engaged or doing something or being creative. Or
I had a statistic that I found that was along the same lines, and then we can jump back into what you're saying. But this one was from the National Center for Education Statistics. It's part of the U.S. Department of Ed. But they found that 7% of children, this is from a few years ago too, but found that 7% of children living at or below federal poverty line have access to summer camps. 7%.
Yeah.
Compared to 38% of kids who come from more affluent families. Even 38% is pretty limited access to summer camp opportunities. So when we're talking about this kind of stuff, just keep in mind that this is a very small portion of the population that gets to take advantage of these things, and that we really should be doing more to open up more opportunities to more people because of these problems that, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No,
You're
it's
about
fine.
to start talking about again.
Basically, the rest of that article was just sort of breaking down, like, so a high-income family will spend nearly $8,000 per year more on education and enrichment than low-income families.
Oh.
And it even said that the study found that because of that, there's almost $100,000 spending gap by the end of high school on higher income and lower income students.
Yeah.
So all of that also comes into play because you talk about things like free and reduced lunch not being as reliable over the summer. So like this gap that the American school system has built, right, like this 3 months that we get off, is affecting not only, you know what I mean, in the ways of like this summer learning, but also it's providing, well, I mean, it was, and it still will, I think, this summer as well, but for those that rely on free or reduced lunches, that's also one of the issues. You know what I mean? And this also was a problem that we talked about a lot when we first got put into lockdown, was like, okay, so kids go to school because it's warm and there's shelter and there's food and, you know, like it provides all of these essentials. And so the same thing is even true of the summer. So, like, while a lot of kids are excited to go home for summer, not everyone is, you know?
Yep.
And it's because school is a safer place for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing that our long summer has done for us. As a teacher, I'm not advocating for a shorter summer. Let me be very clear. But also,
You love your summer
I
vacay.
totally get this. But like I mentioned also, President Trump completely cut funding for a major source of summer and after-school funding in his 2 most recent annual budgets. And states have shown no serious commitment to funding summer learning programs. And that was from 2018. So obviously this COVID relief is doing a little bit of that.
Hey, you know what?
Hey, maybe we should stop defunding education.
Maybe we should stop
I'm going to blame
defunding
Betsy
education.
and Donald.
Betsy
Anyways.
and Don.
But I mean, all that this does is also, it proves exactly what you and I are telling. Our parents were able to provide opportunities for us. And so many of our peers who were not in our same socioeconomic status, you know what I mean, wouldn't have had the same opportunities we did.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I
don't
feel
know.
very
It's like the
fortunate.
disparities are so clear. Yeah, I feel fortunate until like asthma camp, but other than that, I'm pretty fortunate.
You're really still scarred by asthma
I'll
camp.
get to asthma camp, but
It's
really,
not called asthma camp.
I mean, no, it's not.
to be fair to this
It's
camp.
it was a day camp for people, for young people who had asthma. But my parents sent
It's not
me.
funny. It's not
It
funny.
isn't funny because it's great for those people. But for me, I was not really the target audience of asthma camp. And so I went, and it was not quite what I had expected for a summer day camp that my parents had pretty well hyped up for me to attend, you know. But anyways, I think what's most important about this is that we have to keep supporting and funding things that provide these opportunities to students, and especially make sure that we're offering these chances to those that aren't as affluent. And so I was going to talk really quickly, if that's okay, about a Central Ohio camp that is geared towards youth who are referred to attend this camp by social workers. And so, or like guidance counselors, things like that in the community. And so basically these students meet any number of these criterias, but it's like their socioeconomic status, their behavior, their home life situation, low self-esteem. And so this camp is literally built towards supporting and helping these students to help build them up and try to bridge this gap and give them a place to go where they can feel, you know what I mean? Like it's a controlled environment, so they have opportunity to still be learning, but it also gives them a chance to kind of, you know what I mean? Like work
what's
on
it called?
things.
What's the camp called?
It's Camp O'Bannon, and it's in Central Ohio.
Gotcha.
And like I said, their students are all referred to by social workers or guidance counselors or people in the community who can say, like, this is an opportunity for a camp experience that these students might not otherwise have. And so knew quite a few people who work there and volunteered there and things like that. And it's still being funded and supported today. I read about it today just to make sure. But my mom knows some of the people who have helped work there over the years. And so
Retired social worker, your mom.
yeah, so it's a really great opportunity though. Because like I said, you and I, you know, we had enough privilege to be able to give us these opportunities. So I like that this Camp O'Bannon found a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were able to pinpoint exactly who these people are, and I think that's great.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
Yeah.
Chelsea,
Yes.
I
Yes.
think, oh,
I'm here. I'm ready.
you know what time it is.
What time is it?
You are going to tell us about Space Camp.
Yeah, you really
Both trips.
Space camp.
I basically only agreed to this episode because Space Camp was involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't believe I was just talking about going to asthma camp, and you're like, well, it's Space Camp.
I was not like that.
No.
Okay.
I'm saying that's how it's going to be.
Hey, no. Listen, I know how nerdy this thing is, so I don't generally put it on blast, but at the same time, it was something I always wanted to do as a kid, and I got to do it. I went twice. This first time I was very lucky. My parents saved up to send me, and then the second time I won some essay contest, so I got to go again. And it was because John Glenn went back up into space. They had an essay contest, and the winner got to go to space camp. So yeah, space camp was definitely one of my my biggest
So where were they?
dreams come true as a kid.
We could do a whole episode on Space Camp.
Yeah, I probably could.
Because I've had a few students go, and we could get them to talk to
Oh,
us
it's
about
so much fun. I mean, I hope that it's still so much fun. It was at the time, but space camp is really interesting.
How old
'cause
were you?
Oh, let's see.
Okay, well, we were in like
Fourth and
second or
fifth. I think
Oh,
fourth
really?
and fifth grade.
I
was
thought
in
we
the
were in
middle
like
school,
second or
so-
third when he went back up. It was 98.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah. No, space camp was something I always wanted to do, and it's
One was in Florida.
the first one was in Florida. The second one was in Alabama at the Space and Rocket Center. And yeah, I hope space camp is still okay because the nonprofit that runs it actually like had some weird guy in charge of it for a while who was like indicted for fraud or something insane like that. So it was, I hope that they still exist as an organization, and I get like the emails from them all the time. But it was a really fun program, definitely a very popular kind of thing that
So is there like
nerdy kids everywhere aspire to.
Like, how many kids go to space camp? Is it like one per
It's
state?
like a week long. No.
Oh, okay.
I really don't even know how many kids
That's
were
okay.
like, because there are several programs that are going on at once at any given time. There are probably like hundreds of kids on a campus when I was there during any given week, but that's also for like their other programs, and they have like adult and kid.
So did you go during the school year, or did you go during the summer?
It's a summer.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a summer camp.
I had a math teacher go up and do that. The adult version of space camp.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was like a couple
fun.
years before I had him, but he brought on the spacesuit.
For me, I mean, if
flight
you want to be an astronaut when you're a kid, it's like the holy grail. So that was a lot of fun.
So space camp
is a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah. I went to a variety of music and theater related camps. In fact, all the rest of these are music and theater camps. And so I went to one that was all focused on music. Like, I remember taking classes in music theory and then singing in a choir at the end of it. Like, so like that kind of thing. I went to musical theater camp. That was like the loudest personality wise, it's like every theater diva from all the high schools all around.
And
so,
you.
I'm including myself in that.
Of the theater.
I'm including myself.
Yeah,
in
no,
that.
I'm agreeing.
So so I went to musical
and
theater
that was
camp.
a stayover camp.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then there's another one. I was in a string group in high school, and we would always go out to like the state park,
yeah.
and there's like a resort there, so we would kind of just take.
Did you stay there too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we get rooms, and so there's like a lot of shenanigans and trying to sneak past the chaperones all the time. And I'm pretty sure there's somebody stationed in the hallway like all through the night to make sure people don't sneak out of the rooms after a certain hour or something like that. But anyway, it's high school kids and it's a big area, so but it's just all of those camp experiences. I mean, they're all very different, but the thing that I found holding them all together was just like the social experiences that happened kind of adjacent to the main learning, whatever that learning was.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the parts that made them really memorable and really fun. And when you're in a really unfamiliar environment with totally unfamiliar people, some of these camp experiences were with my friends, but like space camp was with nobody I knew. So it's That's cool. It's cool. It's kind of scary when you're a kid, but I also think being in situations like that are uncomfortable are really good preparation for
that would be
a lot of different social situations that you go into as an adult. So I'm really grateful. I had a lot of fun. A lot of fun at all of the different camps that I went to. So what about you? What were your camp highlights?
Well, the asthma camp that I went to.
What was that called?
Camp Feeling Fine.
Camp Feeling Fine.
It was geared toward like trying to provide a normal experience for those with, I would even say, mild to severe asthma, because mine was not at the time. Anyways,
yours was mild, but you were with people.
Very mild, but it was
asthma.
only my asthma was only ever really stirred up by like extreme workouts, essentially. So these were kids who unfortunately had it much worse than I did.
I got you. So you're just like running around, breathing fine. And everything else was like wheezing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my parents sent me to that. Like I said, I went to like basketball and volleyball camps. I like those a lot. Like in high school, we went on like I mentioned earlier, the basketball team went to a couple camps, like at Notre Dame and Vanderbilt and things like that. So those were pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But other than that, we did band camp, which I loved. Mm-hmm. It was like my favorite week of the year. It was so much fun. I had just the best time at band camp, really.
Yeah, my music camps were always so much fun.
It was the last week of summer before school started. So it was always like, I don't know, I just loved it. So band camp was a big one for us. And then also my senior year, I did like a 3-night maybe thing. It was called Camp Enterprise, and it was with, I think it was like maybe the local business bureau, someone like that.
Yeah.
And they hosted, I think it was like 3 or 4 of us from every high school, and we all went, and you made like a business model, and you ran your
sounds
business.
vaguely familiar.
Yeah, and so we did that for, I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 nights actually.
That's kind of cool.
It was kind of cool, but we had already graduated from high school. No, maybe it's before our senior year. I don't know. I got to go with my friends, which I love. Like there were like 4 of us that went, and 3 of us were best friends, and the other boy, he was from Thailand. So it was very cool to spend time with him because he was the only male who was sent from our school, and he wasn't normally in our friend group. So we really enjoyed getting to know him. But I guess there was 5 of us. But the 4 of us girls, we had a great time, and none of us did anything in the business world. Oh. And I don't blame Camp Enterprise.
You mean afterwards you did not go
No,
into business?
I think most of us, 2 of us became teachers, and 1 of us is a hairdresser. I guess 1 works in insurance, so that counts. I think she works in insurance. difference. But anyways, my point is that it didn't make me want to go into business, but it was still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like they had like commissioners and stuff come in and talk to us. They talked
that's
about,
the thing. Like my musical theater camp, I'm obviously not on Broadway, so I
No,
didn't go into
right,
the
right.
thing. But
I mean,
the experiences are still really important.
It was a cool experience. But like we had a pool company, and ours was called Ooh Pools. There's no P in our pools. You're welcome. Can you believe I didn't go into business?
No, I can't believe
Honestly.
it.
But that was really cool.
With great ideas
free.
like that.
Yeah, it was free. It was cool.
Free. What can I say?
I just mean that it was an opportunity that like the county did basically. But I met some really nice people, and I still talk to some of the other kids that I met there.
I was just going to ask that. I think one of the other things that camps end up proving to be is a place where you can make friendships that last forever. I mean, I'm definitely still in touch with kids that I went to, especially music theater camp, because that one is like very emo and like teenage angsty, and like you get a crush on everyone, and it's just a pressure cooker of emotions because you're also trying to learn how to be a good actor and a singer and a performer, and so you have to tap into really running high with the emotions all week long. And they're like circles where you like share some traumatic crap that happened in your life to try to like tap into whatever as a performer. So just like stuff like that where you get almost instantly bonded with your peers in like a pressure cooker kind of environment. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. I'm saying it like it was like a little scary.
You made it sound a little, well,
I mean, it was just like super intense, and I'd never experienced anything like that, especially with people I didn't really know beforehand. So I'm really interested in that kind of bottling lightning that can be the camp experience for people.
Yeah. I mean, if you asked me who I roomed with every year at band camp, I could name you at least half of my cabin. Yeah. Like it does enough to you to,
Well, for me with music theater camp, the first year I went, I became like instantly best friends with some girl I'd never met before, and then we just roomed together the whole rest of the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Every year we went.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
No, I agree. I think that in the case of band camp, it really made it more of a team effort. I don't think a lot of people see band as being like a team sort of, and like probably like what you experienced at orchestra, like all those types of things. But it is a really cool opportunity just to kind of force people to be together. And I think that's what's really important, is that these camps allow kids to be forced to be around, like, because I was not always in the music group in high school. Like, I was friends with them because I was in band, but I didn't hang out with them after school. You know what I mean? But then because of band camp and other things, like, those became some of my closest friends. Oh, yeah. Even though I was, like, kind of a jock.
I think it's definitely...
So it was really cool, though, because it pushed people like me who felt pretty comfortable in like social circles to be pushed into other social circles where I was the outsider, which was probably really good for me.
I think that's definitely one of the strengths of camps like this, especially sleepaway camps, where you have no option but to socialize with people who might have
you're all trapped,
nothing to do with the normal people you hang out with in your friend group, I mean, especially in middle school and in high school too, to some extent, friendship groups tend to be extremely cliquey, and there's a lot of like bullying and stuff like that. So being put in a situation where it's kind of like, this is your option for socializing, so you either make friends or you can just stay miserable
in your cabin,
right? So I think that forcing kids outside of their comfort
that shared
circles
experience forces you. It's like what you're saying. I remember at band camp, you would get up and shower at like 6 a.m. and the water was always cold. So it was like you and your 6 friends, and you're all just like suffering.
I'm trying to think of a word. It's not like trauma bonding, because it's like it's not traumatic, but
it's just that shared experience that you're all.
Well, yeah, but it's like bonding over an intense thing, right? Like not a traumatic thing, but like a super intense experience. You bond over it, and it
very
really
fun,
before camp. I don't think that a lot of kids have an opportunity that is anything like that, and I still think there's not a whole, like, even in adult life, I wouldn't say there are too many experiences that are like that, really weird, intense bonding, especially with people you don't necessarily know. Like maybe like work conferences could be that kind of thing, but they're generally not
too much
that, unless they're like really small or something. There's just really no opportunity. I don't, there's nothing
where
like
you
camp.
make those kinds of relationships. In line for beer at a concert.
Oh,
there you have it.
Yeah, you have something there. We made instant friends with people at Red Rocks when we were waiting for beer.
Every time I've been to Red Rocks, I've made friends with people, just because you're all on the shared experience of the altitude is affecting me, and I would like
you're
a drink
wheezing because of the stairs. You just ran up. Yeah,
but no, you're right. I think that's great. So today, just kind of what students do now, it's a lot of the same stuff. Honestly, it's kind of refreshing to me.
the camp always kind of stays the same.
Yeah, like our kids still do music camps. They still do athletic camps. They do space camp.
Space camp.
Space camp.
Space
Force.
camp. Space Force. No. No.
And at my district where Chelsea grew up also, they go to what's called 6th grade camp.
Yeah.
What is, I have no idea.
The 6th grade camp is like
baby camp?
It's like, I mean, it's
Bonding?
it's sort of probably what I imagine like scout camp would be like, but without the extreme outdoorsy flair. So there's just like team building stuff and random like adventure and like outdoorsy activities and crafts and random.
My students all go through the process of wanting to be 6th grade camp counselors.
Yeah,
and so I get that side of it, and they love to go be camp counselors.
So this is in your district where you teach, and it's where I attended.
Yeah.
There's 6th grade camp, and it's just like,
is it before 6th grade? Or it's the end of the year,
I think it's
right?
at the end of 6th grade.
The end of
year.
6th grade. Okay, so it's before 7th grade.
I think so.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's fun.
the entire 6th grade class gets to go to camp, and it's just like a sleepaway, crafty, outdoorsy, team buildy, general kind of.
Sure.
thing.
I didn't even think about it. I guess this is kind of that. I always went to Vacation Bible School. That's a little
Oh
campy.
yeah, definitely.
I did that every year.
That was again, that's just like a week of free daycare for parents in the summer around, like, especially in like rural conservative Ohio. It's just like the place everyone sends their kids to have a week of vacation, right?
Yeah.
they Vacation Bible School. That's not a sleepaway camp, but
No.
it is a day-long camp.
But I've also had students go and do like writing camps. I've had, there's a yearbook opportunity. It's like 3 nights. You can go do yearbook stuff. I have a former student who just graduated from college, and she did I don't want to call it a camp, but like she went and stayed at, I think it was one of President Reagan's like ranches. And did like this.
Oh, I think I've heard of that actually. Like,
but she went and
it's
did
like
it.
Young Republicans kind of type thing.
It was so cool.
Yeah, they're like political
to hear
camps.
about her. Yeah, so and like it was pretty. I think it was pretty competitive for her to get into that. It was very cool.
Yeah, there's stuff
the
that
pictures
kind
she
of
brought
was, like
back
Model
were
UN.
just
Model UN is like another kind of thing, sort of like that, but that's a little more of like a convention kind of thing. But
yeah, this student, she had a really good time there, and she brought back like the photos were just incredible. It was really cool. It's at their ranch, like all of this stuff. Yeah, pretty neat. But so we still have students finding their way into some of these things. And we definitely get a lot of information from places like that who want us to send students. You know what I mean? Like, so there definitely are still groups like this. And some of them will try to offer financial help to try to attend these things. Not all of them do.
Yeah.
But I think that there is some room still for supporting this type of learning.
Absolutely.
But some of it is just really expensive also.
Yeah. I was just going to say, a lot of this stuff that we're talking about is very expensive. There are a lot of opportunities to apply for funding to help offset the costs of going to camps like this, but a lot of times the kids who have access and guidance to apply for those kind of scholarships are often not necessarily the ones who need it most, let's just say.
Yeah, I agree with
because
that.
if you are supported enough to have, either a teacher or a parent or like a guidance counselor tell you, oh, hey, the community foundation has funding you could apply for, you're already in a position where you have the privilege to do that. So I think there is a big opportunity to provide these kinds of, it's not necessarily where people jump to when they jump to ideas about funding education, because like a summer camp is a kind of non-traditional learning vector, but I think there's just so many benefits of it, a lot of research of it around camps. There's not a lot of very thorough research around camps, as I was finding. There's like I think it's like the American Camp Association. Is that the...
My dreams of camp were...
Yeah,
basically...
American Camp Association. Hold on, just one second. There's an American Camp Association. They are like funding a lot of research about the benefits. They're trying to come up with quantitative, impact of summer camps on the student learning experiences and stuff like that. But other than that, there's not a whole ton out there. But most people are agreed that it's, it's obviously beneficial.
I think it's pretty obvious, but yeah.
So anyway, sorry, yes, you were saying.
Don't remember.
You don't know what you're saying.
Wasn't very important, I bet. I'll think on it. Oh, I guess our last plug for this section could just be, maybe reach out to people in education in areas around you to see what type of opportunities the summer has for students, like libraries and things like that. And even if you can't give your time or whatever, maybe try to support it in any way possible. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it all comes down to. Like, we have a scholarship at school for kids to go to space camp, like that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think especially for people our age, I don't know what I consider us younger millennial, like the millennial age. A lot
elder
of us,
millennials, like Eliza Schlesinger,
elder millennial age range. A lot of us are kind of like volunteerism is declining. Like our sense of community is kind of declining. I think like technology and online spaces play a big role in that kind of thing. But like, you know, community programming, it's just like all that kind of stuff is numbers wise, they're kind of on the decline. And I think that there's an opportunity for people in our generation, if we want to figure out how to give back and we have the means to do so, doing something like sending a kid to camp, it would make a huge impact. It doesn't take that much effort to do. And so it's just like that kind of thing is an opportunity to make a really big impact on a kid's life. You could set them off into a whole career trajectory if you
Just
send them
because
to
of
camp.
that. Yeah.
So like, you know, stuff like that. If you're lucky enough to be in a position where you can help fund scholarships to attend, there are a lot of opportunities there, and there's a lot of need. So.
Yeah. Oh, the other groups that I forgot to mention are like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. We still have a lot of students who do Boy Scouts, especially Boy Scouts. I've had so many
Boy Scouts
Eagle Scouts come
big.
through.
Yep.
But also, I mean, FFA doesn't do like camp, but like 4-H, you know what I mean?
Farmers
Things like
of
that.
America.
Yeah.
For the non-agricultural among us. Yeah, and then 4-H.
Yeah, they do that kind of stuff too. So those are good community.
What are the 4-H's? It's like heart, hands, helping, hamburgers, helpers,
Hamburger helper.
horticulture.
Horticulture,
Harpies.
hamburger helper, and hibiscus.
Hibiscus.
Anyways, contact us for all of your 4-H needs.
What are the 4-H's and 4-H? Anyway, it's like kind of like an agricultural youth organization like that. Yeah, it's like it's heart, hands, something.
Heart,
Oh,
hands, hamburgers.
What are the 4-H's?
History, Homo sapiens.
Homo sapien.
Hank Green. There we go.
No,
Full circle.
No.
How do you know?
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Heart,
Head
head,
to clear
the head
thinking.
and heart.
Okay, wait, listen. Head to clear thinking, heart to greater loyalty, hands for larger service, and health to better living.
Hands for bigger
So there you
hamburgers.
go. Head, heart, hands, and health.
Hand, heart.
All body parts except for health.
Hand, heart,
head,
health.
head, heart,
There we
hands,
go.
health.
All right. Well,
Anyway,
you know what? I'm
now
not
you
gonna
know
remember
all about 4-H.
this. Great for 4-H for doing the good work that they do.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right, are ready to move on to fill in
I think
blank?
it's time.
I think we need
we've
to. I
reached
think
our
we need
limit.
to. I think we need to for our own sanity. Okay, you want to do last week's question?
No, we're doing this week's.
Oh, okay. I'll do last week's question. This period drama starring Michael Sheen and Lizzie Kaplan follows two pioneering researchers of human sexuality at Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. The series begins in October 1956 and ends in August 1969 and presents a fictionalized account of the uphill battle to inform America about how sex actually works. What was the name of that TV show? And that was called Masters of Sex.
Haven't seen it.
I think it was like an HBO thing. It was pretty good.
You watched it?
It was interesting. Yeah.
So-
Not all of it. I didn't finish it, I don't
Okay.
think.
All right.
Maybe the last season I missed out on, but it's pretty interesting. It's definitely an era. It's an era of American history where people are not comfortable
With what's happening.
talking about sex.
Sure.
Not comfortable with it even being a matter of public discourse. We've come a long way in terms of sex education in this country, but yeah.
This week's question.
Yes. This what's this one?
episode's
What
question.
is this one?
Salute Your Shorts was a TV series by Nickelodeon in the early 90s.
I bet it was.
The show was primarily filmed at Franklin Canyon Park and the Griffith Park Boys Camp within Griffith Park in LA. In the show, what was the name of the famous camp? They had a song with the title in it.
And how'd that song go?
Well, I can't sing it all, but one of the lines is, "And when we think about you, it makes us want to fart." Great,
Wow.
Great show.
Wow.
So, what was the name of that famous camp from Salute Your Shorts?
The famous camp that apparently gives you indigestion when you hold it in your mind.
In your heart.
Okay, the name of the camp. All right.
Woo!
Shall we move on to what you learned this
Oh,
week?
yeah, I forgot.
What did you learn this week?
You didn't write anything down.
I didn't learn anything this week. What did you
You
learn
always
this
do
week?
this. This is why I always have to go first.
What did you learn this week?
A banana is a berry,
Oh.
and banana trees are not trees. They're herbs.
Herbs.
Did I say it wrong?
No, I'm just saying it
Oh.
obnoxiously. Okay.
Did a deep dive into banana trees, herbs.
Yeah, you read the whole dang article. We were in the car.
whole Wikipedia
We were in the
article.
car and you started reading it. And I was just like, okay. And then you kept going for like 15 minutes. I was like, oh, wow.
Well, I kept finding more interesting things. So anyways, I
I'm
learned that a
happy for
banana
you.
is a berry.
Uh-huh.
And the reason that we call them banana trees is because their stalks grow so dense over time that they look like tree trunks. But they're not.
Huh.
So,
Okay. Cool.
what'd you learn?
Oh, I learned how to. I mean, it's just kind of like a in line with what I was talking about earlier about my little creative splurge that I'm on, I learned how to hook up my really old, but still really awesome Yamaha keyboard that I got as a graduation present from high school.
I didn't know that's when you got that.
Yeah, it's still really powerful and really awesome Yamaha synth and keyboard. And I was like, it'd be really nice because I'm working on some stuff where I want to be able to write some pretty big piano parts. And I was thinking it'd be really nice to be able to figure out how to hook this up to my, modern computer workflow and my DAW, so my program for writing music on my computer. So I spent like 4 hours troubleshooting it and nothing worked. And I found out that I was just using the wrong dang cable. So I just dug around in that pile of cables.
You should have asked me.
Well, you know how everyone has that pile of cables that they never throw away? Mine goes back to 1995, I think. So I have a lot. I have a lot of technology and random cables that I've never thrown away. So I just
have a lot of technology.
I dug down deep in that box and I found the right cable and I plugged it in and I kind of guessed which one it had to go into. Mm-hmm. I plugged it in and it worked the next day.
Congrats.
But that was after I wasted 4 hours on it. But yeah, I figured out how to do that. So now I got a MIDI controller for my music, music making. Yeah.
Big week. Big 2 weeks.
Yeah, big 2 weeks. I got a lot done. I hope I can keep finding the energy to make more music because it does make me happy to do that. But
good.
Pandemic really squashed my creative willpower.
I'm in that place right now.
Yeah, I'm on the
always
other side
pretty wiped at the end of a school year. Also,
yeah, that's kind of hard to.
I'm having
muster.
a hard time pinpointing my issues, I suppose.
Well, it's hard to muster energy when you're at this point in the school year for sure. So I don't. Nobody
I'm
would
just
blame
tired. Also, we're back in that Ohio spring, which has just been nonstop rain. So we had a couple nice weeks.
It was cold.
And now
it's
just
been cold too.
Yeah,
we have to have our plants in the garage right now because it's so cold. Which is sad because they're so
I'm sad
pretty.
about that.
Yeah,
but anyways, off we go.
Off we go, and you're almost done with school year. We're gonna be on.
Yeah, our next episode will be our last week of it.
Last one of the school year.
I'm excited.
Oh boy! All right.
We'll
Thanks
see you
for
guys.
listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Listeners, thanks for supporting 16 to 1.
We're trying to grow our audience, so please check us out at 16to1.com, all spelled out, and tell your friends about the show.
On our website, you can find links to follow us on social media, an archive of all our old episodes, and a contact form where you can get in touch.
Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next show. Camp Anawana, we hold you in our hearts, but when we think about you, it makes us want to fart.